Good morning, sir.
Okay, let's start with the next syllabus, next part of the syllabus. In the last class, as we have already seen, third model got over. So we are going to start with the fourth model. Under the fourth model, the first chapter is data link control. That is nothing but our data link layer of our OSI layer as well as TCP/IP protocol. So during the first model discussion, already we have studied what all the services our data link layer will do. The first and most important service of our data link layer is framing. That is nothing but it receives the packet from network layer and it converts all the packets into frames, and then it will forward those frames over the physical layer. So this is what the major. Along with this the framing, the data link layer also make sure that it will make sure that flow control and error control. So these are the other two functionalities of our data link layer. So here we are going to see how the framing is going to happen. That is nothing. The first functionality of our data link layer is framing, then how it will be done, and next error control, how it will be handled, and flow control, how it will be managed. So all these things will be discussed in this particular chapter. So let's move ahead. So coming to the framing, framing is nothing but before going to this our syllabus, I'll just let you know framing is nothing but in postal services, in post office also we will see this kind of framing. That is nothing but whenever we write any kind of letter, that we will put it in a envelope. Why we will put that within an envelope? To distinguish that particular letter from the other letter. If you keep on writing a letters and if you mix all, then identification of the letters will become difficult. So in framing concept also we do the same analogy. That is nothing but whatever the packets we receive from the networks, that is network layer, that is a higher layer of the data link layer. So those packets will be posted within an envelope, and on that envelope what we will do in postal services, whenever we put our letter within an envelope, we write sender address on the front side and the receiver address on the front side and the sender address on the back side. So here also in framing concept we follow the same strategy. So we put all these packets into a frames, that is nothing but some kind of envelope. Then we write sender and receiver address on that, so that we need to know from whom that particular packet is frame is coming and to whom it is going. So that we need to understand from the source and destination address. So framing is mainly done to separate the packets from to make sure that identify the different packets. So one should be different from the another packet. So for that purpose framing has to be done. So the identification of individual packets will be done with the help of framing. So let's go ahead with our definitions. Data link layer needs to pack bits into frames so that each frame is distinguishable from another. That's what I said. Each should be distinguishable from one another. So that's why we do the framing. It is just like our postal services where we put our letters in the envelope so that each will be distinguished with a source and destination address. The simple act of inserting a letter, that's what whatever the analogy I have given, the same thing I have written here. Simple act of inserting a letter into an envelope separates one piece of information from another piece of information. The envelope serves as a delimiter. Delimiter is nothing but separation between the two letters. So that is called as two letters. So this is what we call it as a framing with respect to the data link layer. Is it clear, guys? What do you mean by framing first? Because if it is clear, so that the further topics will be clear. Definition is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's now we'll see how many types of framing we will do. There are mainly two types of framing, that is fixed size framing and variable size framing. So that is nothing but from our network layer, many packets will be coming. Can I put all the packets into a single frame? Yes, of course it is possible, but that we will not do in most of the cases, because as and when we increase the size of the frame, then managing that frame itself will become difficult. For example, if you put all the packets in one frame, then if you send that over the physical layer, then at the receiver layer, receiving side, if I don't get the exact data what I had sent, then identification of missing data will become a difficult because the size of the frame will be very big. So that's why we always try to avoid having a frame of larger size. We will try to have a frames of smaller size. In that, how we will decide that the size of the frame? The first strategy is fixed size framing. It is nothing but depending on the packet size, we decide our size of the frames also. That is the first one. Second one, variable size framing. In this case, we will not think about the any fixed strategy. We will be taking variable size depending on the content, what is there in the packet. If the packet size is too large, then we divide that packet into multiple frames also. So that is a second agenda, is variable size framing. So let's go ahead with the first type. So the first type is character oriented protocol, a frame in a character oriented. So here we decide a frames based on the characters. So the first type of frame how we do is, this is the one example that is called as character oriented framing. In character oriented framing, so this is our data, 8-bit data, the data from upper layer. This data from upper layer we receive from whom? We receive from the network layer, and this is what the exact data what is there. But when it comes to the framing, what I already said, we have to put that in one envelope, and on that envelope we have to write senders and receiver address. So here already we have added header and trailer. Header and trailer is nothing but, so already I said on the envelope what all the things we will write sender address and receiver address. So header will be containing source address and destination address. That is nothing but packet is coming from whom and to whom it is going. So that information will be there in our header. So that is why this is called as header. And next, one more information we have added along with our data, that is trailer. Trailer will be having a error detection redundant bits. In the last model, we have seen some kind of redundant bits we will add along with our data for the error correction and detection. So there 3 bits were added, in some places 4 bits were added. So that is depending on the n-1 size, what we have seen in CRC and a polynomial. So the same for that error handling redundant bits, whatever will be there. So those redundant bits information will be there here, and the flow control information will be there in trailer. So that's why header and trailer got added in case of framing. So this is internal 8-bit is our data. Then header is got added, that is nothing but source and destination address, and trailer got added, that is nothing but error handling redundant bits will be there in this trailer. So this is what first writing the address and all. Then along with this, we have 2 more fields called as flag, one at the beginning of the frame, one at the end of the frame. Already we have discussed in case of postal service, which is going to act as a delimiter. What is a delimiter in postal services, which analogy I had given? There our cover itself will act as a delimiter. So here flag itself will act as a delimiter. That is nothing but this flag indicates beginning of the first flag indicates beginning of the frame, and this flag indicates end of the frame. So to indicate, to separate one frame from another frame, we are going to add this flag bit at the beginning as well as at the end. And header will be added to add the source and destination address, and trailer will be added to have the redundant information, and remaining all is our data that will be there within the frame. So this is the one way of doing the frame. But the problem here what we will occur is, now let us assume that some data is there in this some data we have received from the network layer, that is some A, B, C, D, E, F, G, some 8-bit data we have received, that is in the form of characters. Then we have added some kind of flag here. This is also in fact 8-bit characters only. Then now assume that here also A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H only. So whatever the packet data is there, if I have a same character A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, if I have a same characters in the flag, because there is no restriction on selecting the flag bits. So if I have a same data in a flag as well as data, in that case what will happen? Unnecessarily our physical layer thinks that the packet is got closed here only. So it will come across this flag first, then it will come across header, then immediately it will come across flag again. So that is nothing but data. In fact, it is a data. But what the receiver side he thinks, data got over only, because whenever he come across with a flag content, in the beginning he might have come across with some ABCDF, and then whenever he come across again with a ABCDF, then he assumes that the data transmission is completed. That is because the data which is coming from network layer and the flag content both are same. Whenever you come across with this kind of situation, the problem arises. Otherwise, if I have some MNOPQ here and ABCD here, then the no problem. First flag will read ABCDEFGH, then header information, then here content will be read, and then trailer will be there. Then flag it will come across with ABCD, then ABCD of this end frame, end flag, and this will get matched. Then the frame will get closed. That is there when the data bits and the flag bits are different. But in most of the cases, we don't have any restriction on what content to be taken in a flag. In that case, what will happen? So we have to make sure that this flag has to be separated somehow from the data. So for that, to avoid this problem, we are going to have one byte stuffing and unstuffing methodology. That is nothing but whenever we see flag and escape characters in our data, now assume that this flag and this flag both are having the same content, then in that case we will come across with this kind of problem. So to avoid that, we will add 2 more extra byte. Whenever I come across flag in our data, then I will add 1 more extra bit called as escape. That is nothing but if it come across with a flag, then the receiver side he should escape this. Means he should not assume this flag as a end one. This flag is not the delimiter flag. This is not to indicate the end of the frame. This is to indicate that it is only there in the data itself. Flag itself is a data in this case. So then interpretation will happen in such a way that whenever it come across with a flag preceded by the escape, that means this flag is not the end. This flag is not the delimiter. It is a data itself. Then again here escape character is there. This escape character is not the one which is there to indicate the end of the frame or end of the data. It is there in the data itself. So to indicate that, always whenever we come across this kind of data in our data bit itself, we have to add 1 extra bit before the flag or before the escape. So that we call it as a stuffing. So this has to be done mainly to avoid this misinterpretation of flag data with the actual data what we are sending. So that is why we are adding escape before the flag and escape before the escape. So whenever our data link layer says this kind of double escape, then it will think that okay, it is not the end, it is a data only, then the interpretation will be correct. So to avoid that misinterpretation, these extra stuffed bit will be added. So that is what we call it as a byte stuffing. So this is sent, this is done at the sender side. No, at the receiver side, same thing has to be done. But we don't want to see this extra field at the receiver side, because the receiver don't know what is this escape added and receiver don't know what is this escape. So then what we have to do, before it reaches to the destination, it has to be unstuffed. Unstuffed is nothing but this escape and this escape has to be removed. So that is what we call it as a unstuffing. When you are adding that extra fields is called as a stuffing. When you are removing, that is called as unstuffing. But make sure when we have to add this, only when the content of the flag and the content of the data are getting same. In that case, the data link layer thinks that data will get here. That is nothing but frame is going to end here only. So that misinterpretation will be avoided with the help of insertion of 1 extra field called as escape before that content. So that misinterpretation will not happen. So in the before sending, it should be added, and before receiving, it should be removed. So adding is called as stuffing and removing is called as unstuffing. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is byte stuffing. First, we have seen character-oriented protocol. That is character-oriented. Some kind of problem has occurred. To avoid that, we have seen stuffing and unstuffing. So this is one type of framing. Next, move ahead to the next definition. Byte stuffing is the process of adding 1 extra byte whenever there is a flag or an escape character in the text. That's what we have discussed. Whenever there is a flag or escape in our text, then we have to add 1 extra character before that flag or escape. So that is what we call it as a byte stuffing, and unstuffing is nothing but removing that. So that is what we have seen. The next type of the frame is bit oriented protocol. That is a character oriented protocol. So this is a bit oriented protocol. So their framing we have done based on the characters. Here we are going to do the framing with the help of bits itself. Their characters we have seen A, B, C, D, M, N, O, P like that, but here it is going to be based on the bits. But here also, as usual, so the data will be received from the network layer. Sorry, data will be received from the network layer. Then header information will be added here, that is nothing but source and destination address. Trailer information will be added, that is nothing but error handling, return and bits will be added here. Then flag bit will be added, that is to separate one frame from another frame. But in this case, these bits are going to be constant. In every frame, whenever our data link layer come across with this kind of sequence, it will think that it is if it is coming across with this kind of sequence in the beginning, it will think that new frame is starting from here. Whenever it come across with this kind of sequence, it will think that it is the end of the frame. But again, the problem what we come across here is, now assume that in here how many 0 followed by how many ones are there here? 0 followed by 6 ones and then 0. If I come across with same sequence in the data, then unnecessarily our data link layer will think that frame is going to end here only. So again, the same problem what we have seen in the character protocol, the same problem is going to occur, because the content of the flag is 0 followed by 6 ones and then 0. If I have a same kind of sequence in the data, then our data link layer will think that frame is going to end here only. So to avoid this also, again what we will do is, for this also stuffing is going to be done. Then again bit stuffing and unstuffing. There it was a byte stuffing, that is nothing but character stuffing. Here we are going to do a bit stuffing, that is nothing but whenever in data we come across with 0 followed by 6 ones, then one extra 0 will add. That is nothing but in a flag what we had 0 followed by 5 ones or 6 ones. I think just check that. So here in the example we are assuming that 0 followed by 5 ones. Then in a flag we are assuming 0 followed by 5 ones. Then whenever the flag is having 0 followed by 5 ones and then 0, then the same kind of sequence if I get in the data, then to avoid the misinterpretation, one more extra 0 I am going to add after that 5 ones. Then 0 followed by 5 ones. Then this 0 indicates this 0 is not the end of the flag. That is not the end of the frame. This is to indicate that this is not the end of the frame. So this 0 followed by 5 ones are there in the data itself. So that is to understand the data link layer that, so whatever the sequence we are observing in the data is not to indicate the end of the frame. It is to have a data itself. So that's why this one more 0 is added. Again, that's kind of sequence, one more sequence I am coming across here. So 0 followed by 5 ones. Then again one more 0 will be added. So how many sequence we come across in this data, so that many number of zeros has to be added. That is to avoid the misinterpretation. Make sure that is what, there we have added a byte, here we are adding a bit. That is to avoid only the misinterpretation of end of the frame. So that should not happen. So that whenever you are adding this 0, that is called as stuffing again here, that is bit stuffing. Whenever you are, when it is at the receiver side, we have to remove that. So that is called as unstuffing. So this is for the bit oriented protocol framing. So that is for the character oriented protocol framing, and this is for the bit oriented protocol framing. Students, is it clear? Because in most of the time he has asked, explain the framing concept with the help of example. You should write a definition and then followed by both the types with the help of stuffing as well as normal scenario. Yes, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if it is clear, then we'll move ahead with the next topic. That is already I said the first part of our data link layer is a framing. How it will do the framing we have seen in detail, it is there later, but as of now we have seen only bit oriented as well as character oriented. Both we have seen how and what is the responsibility of header and what is the responsibility of trailer, both we have seen, and what is the use of the flag we have seen, and what kind of problem we come across. To avoid the misinterpretation, bit byte as well as bit stuffing will be done. Then second responsibility of our data link layer is flow and error control. Flow control is nothing but what? Flow control is nothing but, now assume that there is a sender and receiver. Sender is sending the data with 10 Mbps speed. Then receiver is capable of receiving the data at 5 Mbps. In that case, there is no flow control. That means sender is sending without thinking about the receiver. Actually, flow control is nothing but sender should send the data in such a way that what is the capacity of receiver to receive the data, that has to be checked in advance, and then based on that capacity only we have to send the data. So that is what we call it as a flow control. So how that will be managed, how that flow control will be done in the data link layer. So that is a topic of discussion. Then how the error will be controlled, that we will see one by one. So the most important responsibility of the data link layer are flow control and error control. Collectively, these functions are known as data link control. The framing followed by flow control and error control. These are all the functionality of our data link layer. So now let's start with the flow control and error control. Whatever the definition we have seen, same definitions are here. Then to handle this flow control and error control, we have set of protocols. So what are those protocols? We will see different types of protocols. Already we know what do you mean by protocol. Can anybody tell me? In the first model itself, we have seen what do you mean?
Set of rules.
Set of rules that governs the communication. That is what we call it as. Yes. So different kinds of protocols already we have studied. So here also for the this flow control also we have some kind of protocols. For noiseless, already we have classified the channels also. Noiseless channel is nothing but there will be no disturbance in the channel. Whatever the data you are sending, the same data will be received at the destination. For noiseless channel, we have seen Nyquist sequence formula, and there is a noisy channel. This is also there. We have seen there. Noiseless channel is nothing but there is no disturbance, and this is nothing but we have attenuation problem, distortion problem, and noise problem will be there in this case. So if there is a noiseless channel, then what are the protocols? There are two protocols, that is simplest and stop and wait. If it is a noisy channel, then we have three protocols, that is called as stop and wait, automatic repeat request, then go back and ARQ, then selective repeat request. So these are the three protocols for the noisy channels. So first let's start with the noiseless channel. Today's discussion will restrict to noiseless channel. So in that, first protocol is simplest protocol. How we will do that simplest protocol? With the help of the simple diagram, we'll try to understand. Already I said from where we will get the data for the data link layer. All the data will be received from the network layer. So first upper layer for the data link layer is a network. So all the data we receive from the network layer, then it will reach the data link layer. Then data link layer, it will do the framing, and then it will transmit over the physical layer. Then the physical layer will transmit those frames over the physical medium, and then at the receiver side it will receive at the physical layer. Then physical layer will send it to the data link layer. Then the data link layer, what it will do, whatever the data link layer has added, what all the things data link layer has added, that is header, footer, header and trailer and flag, all those things will be removed here, and then it will be sent to the network layer. Network layer will receive the data in the form of packets, not in the form of frames, because frames will be there till here. Then once we remove that header and trailer part and flag, then it will become again packet that will be sent to the delivery of data. In this way, in the simplest protocol way, there is only one-way communication. That means sender is simply sending the packets without worrying about the receiver. That means one packets at a time, it is one frame at a time it is sending. We are not waiting for the any confirmation from the receiver side. So this kind of algorithm we call it as the simplest algorithm. That means sender, once he get the data link layer will wait until he get a data from the network layer. Once he get a data from the network layer, then he convert that data into frames, and then he will send. Then what he will do, he will wait until and unless he receives the frames from the physical layer. Then once he get, then he will send it to the network layer. So only they will wait for the data to get. But once they receive the data, no confirmation will be sent back to the sender. So that is what we, that is the one drawback of the simplest protocol. But in simplest protocol, one-way communication will happen. We will never worry about the feedback from the receiver. But whenever they come across with a request of the data, they will transmit over the physical link after converting them into a frames. Then come back to the example, how the actual simple this diagram will work. In your textbook, no, I want to make it clear. In your textbook, this sender is nothing but where we are sending. This is at the data link layer. In your textbook, he has mentioned the sender as a data link layer, and here the network layer has been added. So don't get confused. Here directly I have taken the sample example, but in your textbook, data will come from network layer to the data link layer, and then it will be sent. That is in the form of frames. Here directly I am assuming this request is coming from network layer, then it will come to the network data link layer, then data link layer will convert that packets into frames, and then it will be sent. Then receiver will receive that packet, then it will send to the network layer again. So this is where there is a only one-way communication. Request comes, then send it. Then request comes, send it. Request comes, send it. But this dotted line indicates there will be a time gap between one request to another request. Definitely there will be a, because continuous data will not be there. So until and unless first data will send, second will not be sent. So they will wait and send, but they are not waiting for any feedback. Continuously they will keep on sending the packets. So this is what we call it as a simplest protocol. When we see the second one, you will be more clear with this, because that is stop and wait. So here it is nothing but we are not waiting for anybody. Simply we'll be keep on sending as and when data comes to the receiver. That is nothing but when I come across with the data at the data link layer, I will convert that packets into frames, then I will send. Then what the receiver data link layer it will do, it will receive that, it will remove the header, trailer and flag, and it will send it to the network layer. It will not send any feedback to the sender that whether he has received the data or not received the data. But definitely there will be a time gap between first request to the second request. So that itself will make sure that there is no overlapping between the frames. If we keep on sending all at a time, then there will be overlapping between the packets, frames, then the losing of frame may happen. So to avoid that, there will be a time gap be given between one request to the another request. So this is called as simplest protocol. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next, we'll quickly go ahead with the next protocol, that is stop and wait. Here will be more clear. Network layer, I'll get the data, then it will be converted to the frame as usual, whatever the diagram we have seen in the previous. Then once it got converted to frame, then it will be sent to the physical layer. Then physical layer will send that to the receiver side. Receiver side will receive at the physical layer. Then data link layer will receive that, it will remove that, and it will be sent. But here one more thing, whenever data link layer receives that packet, immediately he will send an acknowledgement to the sender. That acknowledgement is going to be a confirmation acknowledgement or a confirmation frame that I have received the data. In the previous simplest, only one-way communication was there. But in the stop and wait, when the sender sends any frame, then he will wait until he gets the confirmation. Uh, that is what we call it as a two-way communication. First, he will send the data frame. Once the data link receives that data frame, then immediately he will send a acknowledgement frame. This acknowledgement frame does not contain any data, but it contains the information to indicate to the sender that I have received the packet. So this is the stop and wait. We will be clear with the timing diagram again. So request comes from network layer, then it will be converted to frame and it will be sent to the destination. And once it receives, it sends an acknowledgement. Until it receives the acknowledgement, there is no packet will be sent. Other packet will not be sent. Then one more, this is a one case. Then again one more frame will be sent, and when he receives the acknowledgement, next frame will be sent. Now for example, assume that the first frame he is sending, if this frame will get corrupt in between only, it will not reach the destination only. In that case, the destination will not send any acknowledgement because he has not received any data only. If he receive data, then he will send the acknowledgement. If he has not received any data, then how come he will send the acknowledgement? So if assume that this frame has got corrupted in between only, then he will not send any acknowledgement. In that case, what the sender will do, he will wait for a particular amount of time, that 10 seconds, 20 seconds, some time frame will be set here. After that time frame, if the acknowledgement doesn't come, then he will resend this packet only, because that time senders think that my frame might have got corrupted in between, so I have to send the frame again. So that's why he will send the frame once again. Then acknowledgement, if it comes again within a stipulated time, then he will send the next frame. If he don't get the acknowledgement within a stipulated time, again he will resend the same frame again and again. Until and unless he gets the acknowledgement, he will be keep on sending the same frame after a time interval. So 10-second time over, then send the frame again. If you get acknowledgement, that is an indication that the receiver has received the packet, so I can send the next packet or a frame. So that is how the stop and wait protocol will work. Stop and wait is nothing but sender will send the data and he will stop and he will wait. For what he will wait? He will wait for the acknowledgement. Once he get the acknowledgement, he can send the data. If you don't get the acknowledgement within a stipulated time, then he will resend the existing frame again by thinking that my frame might have got corrupted in the transmission medium. So that is the advantage of having a stop and wait protocol. So here the transmission number of frames sent will be very less because we are waiting for the acknowledgement of each and every packet. But this is going to have a efficient data transmission because for each and every frames we are going to get a acknowledgement. That means the data will be reached destination without any problem. So that is the advantage of this particular stop and wait protocol. Is it clear, my students?
Yes, sir.
There are two protocols we have studied. One is simplest, that is one-way communication, and the one is stop and wait, that is two-way communication. And apart from this, we have seen framing also today. So if you have any doubts, clarification with respect to this, you can ask me. Otherwise, we will stop, and in the next class, we will see the noisy channels. So whatever the two algorithms or protocols we have seen, this is for the noiseless channels by thinking that there is no noise in the transmission media. If there is a noise, then again protocols are different. For that, we will study in the next class. Yes, any doubts? Yes, students, if there are no doubts, we will close the class.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I hope it is clear then.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you. Then we will see you tomorrow again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.